Hey there, it's Derek here from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a long body, high roof, two-wheel drive version of the Toyota Hiace. This is a KZH 120 with 3-liter turbo diesel engine, bought from auction for export over to Canada. It is 1 year away from being legal from the USA. If you're in Canada, take a note. Buy cars that are 1998, wait a year and drive them, and sell them for markup in the USA. Now this one here, the high roof, long body, is what people want. There's a ton of room in here to build your own camper or just take a whole bunch of people on a trip. The two-wheel drive one gets better fuel economy, has more power than the four-wheel drive one because that adds a lot of weight. Overall condition, it's looking good, really good. Low mileage, 45,000 on a vehicle that's now nearly 25 years old. Pretty crazy low. We'll go over the auction inspection sheet in just a second. We'll review the condition of the vehicle inside and out, and then we'll ship it off over to Canada. And unfortunately, you have to leave the plate here. We need that to deregister the car. Okay, so firstly, I'll just translate this from Japanese into English. This is the original Japanese auction inspection sheet, so this will tell all of the damages. This is a 10-seater, so kind of like a bus. It's not registered as a bus, so you don't have to have any worries about importing this to Canada. It's definitely legal there. Real buses you can't import unless it's 1979 or older. Okay, so 1998 Hiace Grand Cabin GP high roof. Okay, now if you want the two-wheel drive high roof long body, you're looking for with this engine, KZH 120. If you want the four-wheel drive version of this, you want a KZH 129. Okay, this is an auction grade 3.5, interior B. I'd say that that's fairly accurate. It might even be an auction grade 4, but maybe it might be a bit too old for that. But for its age, I think it looks really good. 45,175 kilometers, still has registration on it. Every 2 years, you need to get the car inspected in Japan. You need to get stuff fixed before you can re-register it for another 2 years. And so this one expires in 2023. And so the last time it was inspected was 2021 May. Power steering, power windows, airbag. The sales points here say aftermarket Navi reverse camera, which is nice for a vehicle this long, but it's actually like in Japan, this is a big vehicle. Outside of Japan, it's really not that big. Good use of space, really easy to drive, but not that big of a footprint. Okay, aftermarket keyless entry, nothing in the note section, and the report here says interior is slightly dirty. I will attest it is actually very clean. Seat cigarette burn. There's actually 3 cigarette burns. There's one on the seat, one on the console, and one on a rear carpet. And I'll just show you. It's somebody cut some carpet to put in on top of the regular version of the carpet, and the cigarette burn is in that. So here's that cigarette burn. There's the original carpet underneath, and then more carpet. And this piece here is removable if you want to wash that, or wash that. Or you can just get rid of this. If it were my vehicle, I'd get rid of that. But it's good to know that it's there, keeping the car in good condition, while the original mat is basically brand new underneath. Okay, we will come back. You will get a chance to see those original lovely half-lace seat covers from Toyota in a second. We're going to finish this here first. So underside surface rust, it's really, really clean actually. Rust is something you have to worry about for Hiaces, especially ones this old. But everything is really good. The surface rust on it is very mild. You can see a little bit of it here, the back panel, and sometimes the carrier for the spare tire are things that will rust early. It's a solid rear axle, independent front suspension, and you're not going to go off-roading in this. This one you'll, keep on the road. But it's a lot of weight that's still on those rear wheels, and so it's not that bad to drive in slippery conditions. Get some good tires and you should be good. It is rear wheel drive though, so keep that in mind. And then various scratches, dents, and repair marks and paint wave. It actually looks like the whole vehicle has been repainted. Have a quick look down here. You'll see a bit of wave. See that? It can be a little bit difficult as the camera doesn't know what to focus on. But because of that, there's nice, bright, shiny paint on the car everywhere. And so it's a nice plus. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do a once around the vehicle and we'll look at a few things. This U2, I'll just point out early. It's right here. Okay, and that's basically the biggest damage on the car. So I'll do it once around so that you can see it. The nice thing about the Hiaces is they're really quite narrow compared to how long and how tall they are. They're probably about 165 centimeters from the floor to the roof of these high roofs. If you email us, I can get you the actual distance. But you can't quite stand up in it if you are most male size. If you are a short person, you might be able to get away with that. 165 is, I think the average female in Canada is exactly 165, but don't entirely know. The turbo diesel engine in these is lovely. It is an older engine in it, but I think this is right when diesels were starting to feel more modern and more civilized. The generations before this tended to be noisier and clackier and not run as smoothly. I really like these engines, the 1KZ. You can get them in the Hilux Surf, which is the Forerunner. You can get them in the Land Cruiser Prado. Going through the forest here. And the Land Cruiser Prado is like a, well, I don't know, it's like a mix between the Hilux Surf and the real Land Cruiser. Just has a smaller engine in it. Okay, let's look at details. This is the second to most modern version of this generation of the Hiace. They call this the 100 series. After this was the 200 series. And the 200 series started in 2004 or 2005, somewhere around there. So there still were several more years of this body style. Headlight here has moisture in it, and that goes for two of the lenses. The headlight there and the marker light on the side. It is not cloudy in this separate lens down here. The front bumper has a few minor scratches on it. Nothing huge, nothing really to point out, but the grille has some deterioration in it. Okay. There's a small rock chip here that's been touched up with touch-up paint extremely well. Okay, and we'll go down the side here and I'll point out anything that I can think of. Inside here has some fingernail scratches that are common from sticking your fingers in there and letting your fingernails touch there. Over time they build up. You can see more of them in here too. Okay, no tints in the windows, which is kind of nice. I prefer untinted windows, really, for most cars. I even think nowadays most windows are tinted. You get something like this Delica, and that's kind of the norm, whereas previously a tinted window would look all exclusive and cool, but now the completely see-through windows are cool. You don't get as much privacy, but if you really want some, you've got real curtains in there. Kind of neat. Okay, Hiaces, they like to rust. Right here. And right here. And on the long body you have this extra seam here. And you get the extra little window there. Very cool in my opinion. They like to rust where this seam meets the bottom sometimes. And then at the edge here of the sliding door. And then you'll get them on the front face just below the windshield along this rubber gasket here. And then sometimes little spots of it down here. All of the regular places that you can rust, it's not a problem on this. So that's nice. I'll quickly show you the interior here while we're at it. So most likely this was used by a hotel or a pension to pick people up from the nearest train station. Here in Japan, everything runs by train stations, and they have a luggage net here. They have a really cool roof-mounted extra luggage net up there. And then typically the long body like this, well, they come in lots of different configurations. This one's not one of the more common ones, but you can usually get 12-seaters or 15-seaters. This 10-seater has a lot more leg room than your typical configuration for the long body high roof. If you're lucky, you can find them with a manual transmission too, but you have to be pretty lucky and you have to bid aggressively when they come up because everybody wants them. And this is nice. It's not your typical vinyl, it's an actual carpeting in the back. We know it's been smoked in because of those cigarette burns. It doesn't smell like cigarettes at all, so that's a nice plus. We'll continue on. There are a couple of very minor nicks in the paint here. And it says Kobe Toyopet. So Toyopet is a dealer. I don't know if it's a franchise or if it's owned by, like, corporately owned, but it's like one of the chain names for Toyota dealers. Okay, going down here, everything looks good. Right here is where your dent is in the side panel. You can see the decal has a few scratches. Because it's in the decal, you can barely notice it. I actually had to do a double pass to take a look at that. Okay, open the door up. This is a cab over design, so you sit up really high in the air. This gives you really good visibility. This car is going to be in Canada, which is a left-hand drive country, but this is right-hand drive. Some people are a little bit afraid of driving that. In my personal opinion, it can be inconvenient sometimes, but you can also drive a cool vehicle like this, which you otherwise couldn't in left-hand drive. If you're off the ground, high off the ground, like this one, with good visibility out the windshield, it becomes less of a problem. And so that's a nice positive. Door cards here are good. No cigarette burns. Sometimes you'll see some here as people rest their arm on the side of the window sill with a cigarette and just let the ashes fall. Nothing there. Sometimes this part here gets worn out as people slide down over and over again, but this one's good. And then the seat here, yeah, cigarette burns. So we got one large one here. And another series, it may be one burn and then it like tumbled a bit. So there is, let me just zoom in so you can see that. Okay, and yes, everybody loves these. They're very common in Japan. I've heard that other Asian countries, they're also popular too. The half lace seat covers, you'd never see something like this in North America, and that gives it a very JDM feel to it. So JDM van with the cool JDM lace seat covers is extra cool, in my opinion. You have extra carpets here, just like in the back. That's a plus. This is great. If I wanted one of these myself, I'd be extremely happy with this one. Okay, ooh, power sliding door. I didn't even check that. Let's try it now. They are a little bit weird in this because the way that they work is just like a, they open halfway and then they open full, and it's kind of weird. So let's just try that. It said no. Maybe it only works when the engine is on. Oh, and yeah, let's listen. I love the sound of that. Oh, they fixed that. The earlier generations do that weird thing. This one doesn't, where it opens halfway, like that one there. KZH 106 would do that. But the mechanism for it is kind of funny because, look, it has like a wheel, and it just wheels the door open and closed. It's like nowadays it's a full motorized system on tracks, and like there it's just like, yeah, let's do like the pirate ship at the fair. You know, the one that goes back and forth, and it's just like a tire at the bottom that goes both ways. Kind of the same deal. Okay, and let's close that. That's nice. I like it. High roof, speakers. I'm not saying hello to the roof. It's a high roof. This is actually the ceiling, not the roof. Okay, let's switch that engine off. Look at that, 45,251. So you take care of it and it'll last at least, I would say, 500,000 kilometers. Oh, let's pull that out. Barely any wear on the steering wheel. That's good. Has a Navi screen there. Probably have to put your own Navi screen in if you actually want Navi or Apple CarPlay or anything. And then here's the console cigarette burn, melted plastic there. Shifting is perfect. With a low mileage, you can notice it's smoother than pretty much every Hiace out there, which is good. Lights here, high or low for both of those interior lights. Power curtains. Rear heater switch. And rear AC switch. So you have this lumpy thing here to manage the rear AC. And no vents in the headliner, I guess. Okay, not much else to say up here. Let's, original plastic still on that visor. Let's go to the rear section. Let's not get hit by a step wagon. Step wagon's a funny name because it's step, S-T-E-P, and then it's W-G-N for wagon. So it's like a step wagon. But in Japanese, it's just step wagon. Okay, so there's this protective plastic on here. That's nice to have, something you would typically see in something akin to a taxi. This ashtray, it's missing the spring, so it doesn't actually stay in there. Now, if it were my car, nobody gets to smoke in it, so I just glue that into place there because nobody's ever going to open that. Your cup holders. Okay. And your seat orientation is 2 in the front, and then a row of 3, and then a row of 2, and then a row of 3. In the higher capacity ones, you actually get 4 side by side, but it's a little bit tight. These ones are nice. And actually, this is a cushier and more comfortable seat than most of the buses out there. If you are going to turn it into a camper, I guess you'd have to get rid of the seats. Oh, I didn't notice this. I've never seen a bus that has rotating seats. Look at this. You got your regular seat belt. You got auxiliary seat belt. And the purpose for this is because when you rotate the seats to face backwards, you can still have a seat belt. If you look down here, yep, it's got the seat rotation device. You can on this seat and you can on these seats. Really cool. So if you did want to turn this into a camper, you could put a table mount there and you can actually use these seats as your table seats. That's really cool. Okay, head in here. Way more leg room in here than your typical Hiace bus. That's good. Also missing the ashtray there. Okay, slide style windows on this one, that one, and this one, but not on the sliding door window. And let's try standing up. You can see I need a haircut. Oh, my hair fell off. Literally every time I talk to my daughter, she's like, you need a haircut. I know. Flip it down. Seats in the back, 3 across, and again, same amount of leg room back here. And center seat doesn't get a shoulder belt. Only the outside seats do. Open that curtain. Okay, well, not much else to say about it, so that'll be the end of the report here, just showing the AC vent there. How long are we? 17 minutes. I gotta hurry these videos up. Too much to talk about. Good van, you get a thumbs up for this one. Okay, that's all for now. If you have any questions, let me know. If you don't, then thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.